Alright guys, welcome. This is another video. This one is about attacking patterns, right? Defensively, we are getting pretty good, which I like it. So let's work a little bit offensively now, right? And so as you can see, we are at our normal 4-4-2 narrow diamond, right? And I think one thing that we have to try to understand is that even though we are at a narrow diamond here, doesn't mean that we cannot, find our spaces out wide. So what we've been working on is if the ball is on the outside back, right? The same side center mid can open out wide here. Why? Because then it allows our center attacking mid to come and receive this ball, right? It can be a triangulation, play him this ball here, play the striker, But it is important that our center mid closest to the ball, right, checks out and opens into space, right? And then our center defensive mid has to be kind of a scapegoat in case this pass doesn't work, right? And then the center attacking mid also drops in here and he's not able to receive that ball. Be a scapegoat always to, you know, uh, come out and receive that pass in case we cannot progress with the play, right? So again, if the ball is on the side, that's when this center mid opens wide, the center defensive mid kind of opens up here, and the opposite center mid just either stays in a flank here or he watches for that ball to be a long through ball here in the air. Okay, so that's a basic movement that we're gonna work on is when the ball is on the outside backs, right? We open wide by the nearest center mid. Let's talk about outside back movement, right? Inverted or overlap. If the ball is here with the outside back or is here, with the center mid, if the center mid is in the middle, that's when the outside back overlaps, right? So then it can create space. We can play here, right? We can play there. But let's make sure that our other our other outside back does not go high. What happens if we get counterattacked on and they attack into this space right here, right? We'll do this. Our center defensive mid drops in. Our center back covers that space. And then we have, again, our back four. Okay? So, nonetheless, though, let's make sure that if our center mid stays central, we're overlapping. Okay? But if our center mid, like we said, opens wide to receive this ball, and then he does receive this ball here, right? That's when, and if that's obviously if the center attacking mid doesn't come to receive the ball, underlap him, invert it, and run inwards. Be an option here, right? Because you can play here. Then you have two options here, right? You have here again, and you have here. So I guess three. Okay. So again, if the center mid is stuck in, you overlap, okay? And if the center mid is out wide, you underlap, okay? And you become an option to receive that pass. Again, center defensive mid, always find a gap in the middle where you can be a scapegoat to receive that ball, okay? And that includes both outside backs, right? If he's out wide, you come in here, and if he's inwards, you come out there. All right, but make sure that we always have a 4 back. So if this guy goes up, this guy stays, and if this guy goes up, this guy stays. It's a little thing that we've been working on in practice, and it's looking much better. It is the fact that we have to become a passing option, right? But we cannot just stand there, right? And we can also not be in the same line as the player with the ball because this doesn't progress the play. So if you're going to receive that ball, make sure that you're always diagonally, okay? Always diagonally. For example, here, right? Here. So basically, you have to make a triangle, right? And that's what we mean by triangulation, right? Um, you can play this guy here, he can play him, and then on the third pass, for example, we switch the ball, right? It is very important. Soccer has to have a lot of triangulations so we can, progress with the play. That's what a lot of professional teams do, and a lot of national teams do too. And it is becoming a passing option. Always, at least one person comes to check out. A person becomes the scapegoat if stuff doesn't happen correctly, you know. But it's important that this guy doesn't just stand here, okay? If this guy doesn't receive this ball because he wants to progress the play, don't just stay here, right? Make sure that you open up a wide again, or you become a second option here, and then we can progress the play. But please, don't just stand there, okay? Don't just be a passing option. Oh, I didn't receive, I'm going to stand there. If you don't receive, just check out, okay? So again, to come to receive that ball, also don't be too close to the player, be in a diagonal spot, and having a fair amount of space so we can progress with that play, right? And that includes here. For example, our strikers cannot come here, rather open diagonally to receive this ball here, okay? And again, also center defensive mid. If our center mid stands here, it's not going to progress that play. If our center attacking mid stays here, it's not going to progress that play. So make sure that you're diagonal, right? For example, here, he can play that ball, right? Or he can play that ball here, all right? Important topic is center attacking mid free roam, right? So he will have the free roam to be wherever he wants. So make sure that you're not taking away his space or you're not in the same line as him, right? For example, we play here, right? We open out wide. Our center attacking mid can come in this space, receive that ball, right? Or let's say this center mid doesn't want to come and receive that ball out there. Our center attacking mid can come in there, and this center mid can become the center attacking mid, okay? These two guys, okay, like the center attacking mid and the two center mids can always be switching, right? Or for example, center attacking mid opens out wide here, and then our number 9 drops in a bit, right? That's fair. Just always be sure that you allow the center attacking mid to take that space and be free to whatever he decides to do, okay? Again, don't take his space. Don't be in the same line to receive that pass, and always be a passing option, right, to whatever he wants to do. Another important thing is the movement of our strikers, right? They are two up top, so let's make sure we move as a whole, right? I don't want one striker here and another striker there, unless our center attacking mid is taking that space, okay? So if he drops in, and this is also actually a very interesting ball here that you can play as, a forward. And let's say you play here to our center mid. Our forward moves out wide here, okay? This will drag this defender kind of here, and this striker runs into that ball, and we play into space here. By the time, these guys try to cover him, he takes the shot, right? So it is an interesting play. We have to move, up top together, okay, feeding off one each feeding off each other, okay? So if this guy is a movement kind of striker, make sure that this guy is becoming an option. We can triangulate here, take the shot, right? Or we can play him, and this ball goes into space, and this guy makes that run in between center backs, takes the shot. Also, a ball that is very dangerous, usually is played a lot too in the professional leagues, is that ball into space in the gap between center backs and outside backs, right? So for example, we can play this ball. This guy can run here, make sure he's not, offside, and then we play either inside, right, or in the top of the 18 where our center attacking mid comes and just takes that shot. Okay, so let's make sure that we are exploiting space up up as our forwards. Okay, you don't have to be always standing still. Make sure that you also, for example, oh, the ball is here, you can drop out wide, but if she drops out wide, either center attacking mid takes the space or we shift here with our extra striker, okay? And again, we can always, take the spaces as they appear, right? By playing a 4-4-2 narrow diamond, it will open up a lot of space and we can be very fluid. But it's important that our strikers don't just stand still. They are making movements, to drag away the defender or being a pivot to lay off to a center attacking mid or lay off to our striker, right? Maybe take that ball into space here and make that cross. For example, against one of the teams where I think it was Brandon Pierce that crossed and we took a volley here that was really nice. Unfortunately, wasn't scored a goal. All right, guys, welcome. This is another video. This one is about attacking patterns, right? Defensively, we are getting pretty good, which I like it. So let's work a little bit offensively now, right? And so as you can see, we are at our normal 4-4-2 narrow diamond, right? And I think one thing that we have to try to understand is that even though we are at a narrow diamond here, doesn't mean that we cannot, find our spaces out wide. So what we've been working on is if the ball is on the outside back, right? The same side center mid can open out wide here. Why? Because then it allows our center attacking mid to come and receive this ball, right? It can be a triangulation, play him this ball here, play the striker, But it is important that our center mid closest to the ball, right, checks out and opens into space, right? And then our center defensive mid has to be kind of a scapegoat in case this pass doesn't work, right? And then the center attacking mid also drops in here and he's not able to receive that ball. Be a scapegoat always to, you know, uh, come out and receive that pass in case we cannot progress with the play, right? So again, if the ball is on the side, that's when this center mid opens wide, the center defensive mid kind of opens up here, and the opposite center mid just either stays in a flank here or he watches for that ball to be a long through ball here in the air. Okay, so that's a basic movement that we're gonna work on is when the ball is on the outside backs, right? We open wide by the nearest center mid. It's a triangulation, right? And that's a concept that is very important. And it's the thing, it's the fact that we have so many triangles, in the field, which are passing options, right? So make sure that we are utilizing these triangles. For example, we can play our outside back, right? And then as they engage with the outside back, we can play our center mid, right? And then that's a triangle, right? Usually, professional teams, they do triangulation to engage the players to come here, and then they do 1, 2, and switch, or 1, 2, and then switch. Because the triangulation will make the other team engage on the side with the ball, and then once everybody's synced in, you know what I mean? Once everybody's synced in, that's when we switch the ball and then we attack in the opposite side. So if you want to look, there's a lot of videos talking about triangulation online. So make sure that if you want to learn right on your own time, uh, just check it out. It's a pretty important concept, and it will make your lives easier, especially when we are building up. Also, don't forget, when we have the possession, we build slow, okay? So build up with passing, make the other team engage, okay? Once they engage, that's when we exploit their spaces behind them. But if we are on a counterattack, I want that transition to be quick, okay? And unless there's nothing there. If the counterattack is not there, don't force it, right? Then just go back to building up slow, okay? Thank you so much.